that's not a code. A code like the classic French code, that is the law, and judges interpret that, but not in relation to the common law principle. I noticed the Treasury in their submission used the word codify considerably, and I'm not sure that they're using it in the technical legal sense, that you only refer to the code and the words in that rather than the underlying common law, provided that it doesn't conflict with Parliament's intention.
See, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm just wondering how absolutely crucial some of these more academic legal arguments are, and whether we may be getting a bit, off to the side a bit and not dealing with the practicalities of making sure that accountability, transparency and bad behaviour is not rewarded.
Yeah.
Do we have to go down? Are you saying that if we consider establishing a commission, that some of these more academic, high-level legal debates have to be addressed? Because I'm not sure if that has been done in those other jurisdictions. Maybe you can enlighten me on that.
Yeah, I think accountability, from my point of view, occurs when you've got a forum for accountability where people can be called to account and sanctioned. So I guess in a trade union, if your members are not happy with the way the executive are working in the elections and in the meetings that occur, the members will call the union to account and take appropriate action. With many charities in particular, they have no membership to call them to account, so that vital forum of accountability is missing. So what replaces that? Well, you can have probably the public, as long as the public are willing to invest time and energy to try and call people to account. But it's very difficult to sue a charitable trust because you've got to convince the Attorney General to do it themselves or lend their name to you, and you've got to fund it. You may have some government regulator do it. In Australia, we don't have a charity commission or body which specialises in providing that forum to publish the information that's necessary to come to a considered view about whether that organisation is doing things appropriately. We don't put in a tax return to the tax office. It's all self-assessment. So in my view, Senator, what we're missing is a forum of accountability where these organisations can be called to an account, and it's done in a way where you've not got to mortgage your house in order to take them on through the legal system. Our press is, I don't think, as vigilant as it could be with calling charities to account. I think our popular press, when they do run stories about charities, they're pretty shallow in comparison with the investigative journalism that you'll get in the UK, US or Canada with respect to misdeeds of charitable organisations. So from my point of view, Senator, what we're missing basically is a forum which is workable, that will call organisations to account, particularly those that don't have any membership or active membership.
Professor Nick Xenophon here again. You talk about a form of accountability, and you had a go at the media for I think shallow reporting in relation to this, but isn't the media hamstrung in this country because unlike the UK and now New Zealand, where organisations have to provide information that's publicly available on the web, there isn't that degree of openness that can lead to scrutiny of an organisation. We don't have that easy access to information in terms of charities and religious organisations.
Yes, I mean, clearly there's got to be some access to information. Now it's a matter of how you do that cheaper, better and faster in order not to put a burden on those organisations, many of which do their best and contribute mightily to our community, and we'd all be the poorer without it. So it's a matter of coming up with smarter, better, cheaper ways to do that disclosure, do that transparency. We have a whole range of countries who have tried to modernise their non-profit sector disclosure regimes, and I think we're in the box seat to learn from their successes and their mistakes. And I think it's not beyond the wit of Australian community, government and those in the sector to design such a process, such an institution. But I think what we're missing at the moment is the will to do so.
Okay, so can I just follow, and we're running out of time, I just want to follow up a couple of issues to put to both you, Professor, and to you, Dr. Turnour. In assessing whether a religion provides a public benefit, is it relevant to consider whether it allows a community to participate freely in communal worship, that it provides its texts and teachings at a low or no price, and makes available its clergy to counsel community members, or if it charges large amounts for such services, does that go against the concept of a public benefit?
Shall I start, Myles?
Yeah, sure, go.
The common law position on this is that it excludes from religion those organisations that are pursued for private benefit. And I know Doug Cameron a moment ago just said, you know, don't keep it too theoretical, but this does come down to theoretical issues. I think if you're concerned about religion being charging lots of money, that's really about private benefit. It's actually not about public benefit, because what's happening is the people in the religion are getting the benefit. So it's really a way of feeding it into the private benefit debate. I wouldn't say that charities shouldn't be charging for their services, because there's obviously times when that is appropriate. But certainly you've just hit upon the traditional classifications is what I'm saying. What you've said back to me in many ways is the common law position, and I've just reframed the charging of fees in terms of private benefit. Sure. In this context.
That's fine. Look, if I can just put a final line of questioning, thank you. If I can put a final line of questioning to you both, this whole issue of a forum for accountability, right now, I think, I don't know whether you said it, Dr. or Professor McGregor Lowndes said that there's a gatekeeper. You've got the tax office doing a job now, a reasonable job of being a gatekeeper. I think it's Professor McGregor Lowndes that said that. But in terms of the role of the ATO, if a former member of an organisation says this isn't right, they shouldn't be getting a tax-free benefit because of this, this and this, because of the way they're conducting themselves or the way they're treating their followers or whatever, what approach is there, what mechanism is there for a person to challenge that? Because as I understand it right now, all they can do is go to make a representation to the ATO, but is there a transparent process to deal with those sorts of concerns?
Do you want to take that one, Myles?
Yeah, I mean, the ATO has avenues where people can give them information about tax abusive behaviour. Now, and I do that when I receive information which I think is credible about tax abusive behaviour, particularly tax planning rorts in the charity sector, which over the last decade have been fairly few and far between on a planned basis. But the ATO will receive those complaints. My experience with the ATO is that I received an acknowledgement of that, but not more. And given the privacy of our tax system, perhaps that's why there's not, you don't get more information back to the complainant about that. And again, that probably underlines why the tax office is not the best place to be a surrogate regulator for the sector. And again, I would just know there's a theme through other submissions that tax policy is used for all sorts of levers other than collecting tax. And it's often a very blunt tool, and I would encourage a more appropriate legislation which deals with the activities of cults rather than using the blunt tool of the tax office.
So, Professor, you'd agree that the fatal flaw in the current regulatory approach, if you want to call it that, is that if there is a complaint because of the privacy provisions in relation to the tax office, notwithstanding that these organisations obtain the benefit of a tax-free status, which all taxpayers subsidise in effect, you just don't know what's happening with that complaint. There's no method, no way of working out how it's being dealt with, whether it's being tested, whether evidence is being gathered in order to deal with it.